The initial verse, peacefully abide in the state of mind that is with complete clarity. So therefore, uh, important thing to note is that when we are in practice, whether we are listening to the Dharma or whether we are applying the Dharma in our life, want to be peaceful. So then you think about that. If the mind is not peaceful, how can we listen well? If the mind is not peaceful, then we'll be reacting instead of responding to whatever condition that will come to us. So for universally practice all beneficial actions without any difficulties or hindrances. So therefore, one is mind is peaceful, and all these beneficial actions will be done without any difficulties or hindrances because our mind is no longer hindered by whatever disturbing us. In accord with wondrous principles, engage in the same practice as the Buddha. And this is the wondrous principles obviously is a state of mind that we can be engaged walking amongst the masses to do all the good deeds that we can. But that can only be done, obviously, when the mind is peaceful, then we go without hinder, and then our state of practice can be graduating towards like what the Buddha had been doing. So in sincere response and connection, we can then form the Tathagata seeds, and that will plant the seeds of the supreme enlightenment within us. So Master's explanation. The mind engaging in spiritual practice should be peaceful and settled in a clear state of mind. I'll come to emphasize a bit more about peaceful later. This is a state of mind perceived by the Buddha and illuminated by the Buddha's wisdom, with ignorance and afflictions eliminated. So in that peaceful state of mind, the mind is unhindered by whatever disturbance outside or inside us. You know, just bear with me at the moment, outside and inside. So outside is obviously, it could be the pandemic as it arises now. Inside, it would be whatever emotion could be disturbing us. So in learning the Buddha's way, it is most important to learn to experience the Buddha mind. So how do we learn to experience the Buddha mind? What is the Buddha's mind? The Buddha mind is one is peaceful and tranquil and calm. So that state of mind is one has graduated to a state of selflessness and without self. Then there's nothing would be disturbing us. So be in the Buddha's Dharma lineage to understand the world's truth. So the mind is no longer afflicted by any attachment, then we can listen very clearly and realize what the truth is. Sometimes we hear the Dharma and feel happy and inspired. Then we encounter a certain environment and lose our spiritual aspiration. In this way, we rest again. It's because of these kinds of obstruction that we cannot smoothly walk the Bodhi path. So it relates back to the point that I just mentioned, that one is afflicted, one's mind is disturbed. We can listen and we feel happy about it because it gives us the relief. But the moment we walk out and we interact with the condition, the externality of condition, then we lose our spiritual aspiration because we've forgotten about that. So we are afflicted by what is disturbing us. And that's why some people get afflicted by anger or unwholesome speech or deeds that we do. And that arises because the mind is not at peace, right? Because speech and action comes from thoughts and thoughts from the mind. So therefore, much that we may understand the Dharma, and that is the right understanding, but how that from the right understanding to generate the right thoughts, that in itself is a great practice. I always come to that a bit later. Clearly, we have a pure Buddha nature, but we give rise to an ignorant thought, resulting in cyclic existence in the six destinies, thus suffering many hardships. So while we have the innate nature of the Buddha nature within us, that all it needs is only an ignorant thought, which I just mentioned. So one may have the understanding, or so to speak, to understand as much they can about the Buddha Dharma. That can be then general right thought, and that is the main part, main crux of our practice, because we can then our speech and our action will be wholesome. So the lessons learned, the six destinies is about the 5 realms, because asuras are found in all 5 realms. And that's why in the sutra, it states for more than 50 years, referring to 5 realms, sometimes referring to why more than 50 years, because the asura sometimes is classified as a separate realm below the heavenly realm, between the heavenly realm and the human realm, the asuras. So there will be 6 realms. But the asuras, must I say, they are actually in all the 5 realms. Can you find asuras in the human realm? If you understand more about the asuras, I think you can probably encounter a lot of them in the human realm. And originally, actually, asuras are in the heavenly realm, and they, unfortunately, they are very powerful beings, and the only problem is that they have great jealousy, so they've been banished out from the heaven, and that's why the Mount Sumeru is guarded by the 4 heavenly kings. So asuras are beings that easily lose the temper. And temper, why? Because there's a lot of jealousy in them. And this is a reminder of what Master, why we must become asuras. Because a lot of us, we reflect with our anger because there's something we want. Something in us is not satisfied. And so asuras are found even in the heavenly realm. So they fight with heavenly beings. This is because they have heavenly blessings, but not the heavenly virtues. And so we need to understand that someone can be in that state. They have the blessing, they have the merits to be in that, but the mind is not at peace. They can't be holding those virtues in those realms. So asuras born in a human may have a bad temper, rich and overbearing. They're not bad tempered. They're rich, they're overbearing. So you look at these 3 characteristics, I think you know where you can find them. So they have blessings to be in a human realm, but yet lack the virtues of being a good person. So we cannot take anything with us when we die. Only our karma follows us in the next life. So therefore, we've got to be very mindful of what we say, what we do. Within the 5 realms, we truly come and go by ourselves without any control. And so after this life, where do we go? We don't know. We don't control. So do you want to have any control your destiny? Is look at what you're going to do in this very moment and in this present life. Only our karma follows us. So in learning the Buddha's way, we need to mindfully comprehend and experience many things. The Dharma is learned in the human realm. We must honestly seize this opportunity, because we can't be learning only in the human realm can we practice the Dharma. So that's what Master say, because in the heavenly realm, you got everything you want, everything is going your way. So you got no affliction, so long as not being an asura. In the lower realms, animal realm, they can't even learn and practice the Dharma. And in the hungry ghost realm, they're so hungry, they can't even think of anything else. And the hell realm is suffering in pain. So therefore, if all these realms, the 5 realms the Master is referring to, is only in the human realm that we can practice the Dharma. So that's why we need to seize this opportunity that we have. So I just mentioned that I'll come back having this peaceful mind. I'll share that in the next the contemplation, and I will elaborate a bit on this. So in this episode today is about being, if we can control our thoughts, our speech, and our action by having a peaceful mind so that I can walk the path like what the Buddha did. So it is only when you are in stillness that you can see yourself. Very often than not, when we cannot see ourselves what we are doing, and that's we do not have the self-realization. So when we do not have the self-realization, we don't know who we are. It's a daunting thought, isn't it? We should know ourselves very well, but sometimes we may get in a state that we don't know what we say, we don't know what we do, we lost our anger. That's not me. And those are the moments that you find yourself that, who am I? So therefore, you want to know who you are, you got to be in stillness. And then and in that moment of stillness, to reflect upon yourself, to see who you really are. But then sometimes when we're in that state of anger, well, let's say, well, yeah, I was angry. But the point is, how do you get into that state? So when you are contemplative, you will become gentle, kind, cheerful, merciful, and peaceful. Why is that the case? Because to be a contemplative, you need to be in a state of stillness. In other words, you need to live your life to understand what is coming, what is going. To understand what is coming and what is going, then you need to discern the conditions that your life is in. So when you understand the conditions that your life is in, and you make peace with that conditions, or learn to make peace, obviously you can't change overnight. Learn to make peace with the condition of whatever that comes to you, then you will be accepting whatever karmic retribution that comes to you. When you get karmic retribution that comes to you, you make peace with it, you learn from it, you repay it, and you fulfill that karmic condition. Then naturally, over a long period of time, the condition will no longer be afflicting you. In fact, whatever that manifests in you would be will no longer be afflictive, because you know that is a karmic retribution, and you understand the Dharma, you apply it, and over a period of time, that phenomena that arises is a different phenomena, because you see the emptiness in the phenomena. Okay, then obviously you have to be calm. So when one who is calm in your character, naturally you'll be gentle. You'll come and gentle, and you walk the path, the bodhisattva path, you'll be kind. And with no longer whatever is afflicting you, you'll be cheerful, and you'll be forgiving, and you'll be peaceful. Now, this is the peaceful that you exude outside in. And that's when you interact with people, because you're peaceful in character. That's outside. So these characteristics will keep you in the silence of the mind. Because the more you practice along these things, and you just take on the steps in life and accept all the karmic retribution and the fault when it comes to you, and obviously with those in that character, you keep the silence of the mind, because when you walk in the path, you'll ever be peaceful character. But gradually, what is important to note that is what is, but gradually is only natural. You will then have inner peace, and that's inside. So when the pond is still, you will see your reflection in the same way that you want to see yourself. Unless the mind is still, you'll never see yourself, and you don't know what you're doing, and that's why we react. So in relationship, a good and bad relationship, and that's what disturbing us, isn't it, most of the time. But actually, there is no good or bad life, and those are just conditioned, right? I just mentioned about that. So this all karmic retribution, whatever people that come to us, maybe give us trouble or otherwise. Life is for one to make good or bad, and it's for us to up to us. When we see a good person, we can be a bad person to us, or a bad person can be good to us, and that's why is it that you see some people that you see as a bad person, or why does a good friend will make you such people? That's the way it is, and that's the state of the mind. Whatever is the mind, because it's based on one's desire and emotion. So the choice is what one to make. So unless we understand what is about desire and emotion, then we can be making various choices, and the choice will whatever fits one's desire and emotion. So the peaceful journey in life can only begin with one accepts the life is the life that you have right now. It's the journey to correct yourself. So but you cannot correct yourself unless you know yourself, right? Which is the previous contemplation. So build a bridge to cross a river of turbulence from the rock of mistakes made. And whenever mistakes that we make, and there's one afflicting about one disturbing us, and we have to cross this river of turbulence because depending on the relationships that we have in our life, whatever condition they may be. But the problem is we carry the rocks around because that emotion is within us. So we carry those rocks around, and that's what it is. So we got to drop those rocks. And you can only do that when you are able to still your mind. So mystics are part of progress when one learns from them, just like you learn the lessons of your life becomings. Okay, Kanan brothers and sisters, thank you.
On behalf of all the brothers and sisters, I wish to express our deepest gratitude to Brother Chin, for always sharing with us this wonderful contemplation and relationship and the summary and this sharing. Yeah. Thank you so much, Brother Chin. Yeah.